My brothers and sisters of Africa, I stand before you not only as a soldier, not only as a president, but as an African son whose heart is heavy. Today, I speak not just for Burkina Faso, I speak for the crying mothers in Nigeria. I speak for the fathers who dig graves with shaking hands. I speak for the children who sleep to the sound of gunfire instead of lullabies. A few weeks ago, I could not sleep. The night was quiet in Ouagadougou, but my heart was not. Reports came in again. Villages attacked, families slaughtered, young girls kidnapped, farmers chased from their lands by bandits and terrorists. Nigerian blood was flowing like rain on dry soil. I asked myself, how long will Africa watch her children born? I picked up the phone. I called my brother, President Bola Tinubu. When he answered, I spoke plainly. I did not speak as a man seeking attention. I spoke as a Pan-Africanist. Mr. President, I said, our people are dying. Terrorists are turning villages into graveyards. Bandits are ruling forests like kings. Nigeria is bleeding. What are we doing? There was silence on the line. Then he replied calmly, almost casually, it is under control. Under control? But what does under control mean to a mother who just lost 3 children? What does under control mean to a farmer whose land is now a battlefield? What does under control mean to a child who has learned to run at the sound of motorcycles, because that is how death arrives? My brothers and sisters, I have seen war, I have seen fear in the eyes of innocent people, and I know what it looks like when a situation is not under control. The truth is simple. Nigeria deserves peace. Nigeria is not just another country. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Nigeria is drums and laughter. It is oil and intellect. It is strength and culture. When Nigeria shakes, Africa trembles. When Nigeria bleeds, Africa feels pain. I told President Tinubu, if the problem is too heavy, let us carry it together. If your hands are tired, let Africa stand with you. And if you cannot move against these criminals, then allow us to join you openly and decisively. I did not say this as a threat. I said it as a brother who refuses to watch another brother drown. But I felt distance in his voice. I felt comfort in words instead of urgency in action. Outside my office window that night, I could hear young soldiers training, boots striking the ground, determined, focused, ready to defend their homeland. And I thought about the Nigerian soldiers who are also brave, who are also ready, but who need clear direction, strong will, and fearless leadership. This is not about pride. This is not about power. This is about a little girl in northern Nigeria who wakes up screaming because she saw men with guns take her father away. This is about a young boy who should be in school, but now holds fear in his heart instead of books in his hands. This is about villages that once had weddings and music, now silent except for the wind blowing through burnt houses. Africa must stop pretending. We cannot hold conferences while our people are buried. We cannot make speeches while our people are hunted. We cannot smile for cameras while our continent is wounded. I say this with love, but I say it with firmness. Leadership is not comfort. Leadership is sacrifice. Leadership is action. Nigeria does not need statements. Nigeria needs security. Nigeria does not need denial. Nigeria needs courage. When I ended that call, I stood alone in my office. The lights were dim. The map of Africa hung on the wall in front of me. I walked toward it slowly. I placed my hand over Nigeria. I whispered, "You deserve peace." And today, I repeat it loudly so the whole world can hear. Nigerians deserve peace. They deserve to farm without fear. They deserve to travel without checkpoints of terror. They deserve to send their children to school and expect them to come home alive. Africa must protect her own. If one nation is attacked by terror, it is an attack on all of us. Our borders may separate governments, but they do not separate our blood. I speak today not to embarrass anyone. I speak because silence has become dangerous. And this is only the beginning of what must be said. My brothers and sisters, after that call, I did not feel peace. I felt a storm inside me because words are easy, but reality is not. In the days that followed, more reports came. More villages attacked, more families displaced, more children missing. The forests of northern Nigeria have become places of fear. The roads have become traps. The night has become an enemy. I saw the images. Houses burned, black skeletons, cooking pots lying in the ashes, a child's sandal half buried in dust, goats wandering without owners, silence where there used to be songs. This is not under control. This is pain. Nigeria is a proud nation, a powerful nation, the heartbeat of West Africa. From the streets of Lagos to the plains of the north, it is a land of strength and creativity. But what does strength mean when villages are emptied by fear? I thought about the mothers, a mother in Kaduna. She hears gunshots at midnight. Her heart jumps. She gathers her children under the bed. The door breaks open, shouting, fire, chaos. In the morning, her husband is gone, her home is gone, her world is gone. What will we tell her? Be patient? It is under control? No, we must tell her the truth. And the truth is this: Africa has been too slow to defend her own people. I am a soldier. I understand security. Terrorists do not wait for meetings. Bandits do not wait for press conferences. Evil does not rest. I spoke again to President Bola Tinubu. I told him, my brother, the situation is bigger than politics. It is bigger than image. It is about survival. He replied, again calm, again confident. We are handling it. Handling it. But handling it for who? For the television? For the newspapers? Or for the villagers who sleep in the bush because their homes are gone? There is a difference between controlling a narrative and controlling a battlefield. My heart is not against Nigeria. My heart beats with Nigeria. When I look at Nigeria, I do not see a separate country. I see cousins. I see shared ancestors. I see a common struggle against colonial chains. I see a giant that must not kneel before terror. This is Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is not just flags and speeches. It is not just history books and conferences in big halls. It is standing together when blood is spilled. It is saying, your fight is my fight. When Burkina Faso faced terror, we did not deny it. We did not hide it. We stood up and said, yes, there is fire, and we will face it head on. The terrorists in the Sahel do not respect borders. They move from one country to another like shadows. They hide in forests. They use fear as a weapon. They feed on weakness and confusion. If Nigeria is unstable, the entire region trembles. Do you think the bandits care about passports? Do you think the terrorists check maps before they attack? No. They care about power. They care about fear. They care about spreading darkness. And what do our people care about? They care about waking up alive. They care about planting crops in peace. They care about hearing laughter instead of screams. That is all. One evening, I gathered some of my closest advisors. We sat around a long wooden table, no cameras, no microphones, just truth. I asked them, if Nigeria were to ask for help, would we stand with them? Every single one said yes. Not because we want influence, not because we want praise, but because we understand that Africa must save Africa. If one house in the village is on fire, the others do not say it is not my house. They bring water, they bring buckets, they bring their hands. But what if the owner of the house says there is no fire while smoke fills the sky? That is the question that troubles me. I respect sovereignty, I respect leadership, but respect does not mean silence in the face of suffering. Nigeria deserves peace. The Nigerian soldier deserves support. The Nigerian farmer deserves protection. The Nigerian child deserves a future. And let me be clear, this is not an attack on the Nigerian people. The Nigerian people are strong, proud, intelligent. They are not weak, they are not helpless, but they are hurting. And when Africans are hurting, we must speak. I imagine a future where West Africa stands united against terror, where intelligence is shared, where armies cooperate without ego, where leaders admit challenges and face them with courage. That future is possible. But first, we must stop pretending that everything is fine, because it is not fine. The blood in the villages tells the truth, and the truth is crying out for action. My brothers and sisters of Africa, there is something more powerful than weapons. It is not money. It is not titles. It is not the size of an army. It is the ability of a leader to feel the cry of his people. A leader who does not feel becomes distant. A distant leader becomes comfortable. A comfortable leader becomes dangerous in times of crisis. When I spoke with President Bola Tinubu for the second time, I decided to speak not as a fellow president, but as a fellow African. I said, my brother, this is not just security, this is the soul of Nigeria. He responded again with assurance. We are deploying forces, we are reviewing strategies, it is being handled. But I asked him, have you walked in those villages? Have you sat with the mothers? Have you looked into the eyes of a boy who saw his father shot? There was silence. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Let me tell you what I see when I close my eyes. I see a dusty road in northern Nigeria. The sun is rising. Smoke is still rising from what used to be homes. An old man sits on a broken chair, staring at nothing. Around him, ashes. His entire life reduced to black dust. A young girl walks barefoot. Her face is dry, but her eyes are not. She does not cry anymore. She is past tears. This is not a movie. This is not imagination. This is happening. And when leaders say it is under control, while villages burn, something is wrong. I am not speaking to insult. I am speaking because I cannot breathe comfortably knowing that our people are suffocating in fear. Nigeria is too important to Africa to be weakened by terror. Nigeria carries history, it carries culture, it carries economic power, it carries influence. When Nigeria is strong, West Africa stands taller. But when Nigeria struggles silently, enemies smile. Let us not forget, Africa has suffered enough from external manipulation. For decades, foreign powers have exploited instability. They have sold weapons, they have funded confusion, they have benefited from chaos. Terror in Nigeria is not just a local problem. It is part of a larger web that seeks to keep Africa divided, afraid, and dependent. And when we pretend everything is fine, we help that web grow stronger. I told President Tinubu clearly, if you need partnership, say it boldly. If you need reinforcements, ask openly. If you need intelligence cooperation beyond what you have, let us build it together. But leadership must first admit reality. Denial is not strength. Silence is not strategy. Calm words are not the same as real control. I remember standing before young officers in Burkina Faso. I told them, if our people are afraid to sleep, then we have failed. That is the measure, not press releases, not speeches, not statistics, but whether a child can sleep peacefully at night. Let us speak honestly. Many Nigerians are afraid to travel by road. Farmers fear going to their fields. Students fear going to school in certain regions. Families fear gatherings after dark. This is not the Nigeria our ancestors dreamed of. Nigeria fought hard for independence. Nigerian heroes stood tall against colonial rule. They believed in dignity. They believed in sovereignty. They believed in a future where Nigerians will live free on their own land. What would they say today if they saw villages controlled by criminals? What would they say if they saw leaders downplaying pain while citizens bury their loved ones? Pan-Africanism demands courage. It demands that we challenge each other in love. When your brother is sick, you do not clap for him and say, you look fine. You tell him you are sick, let us find treatment. That is what I am doing. Not attacking, not competing, but challenging. Nigeria deserves peace. Not tomorrow. Not in 5 years, now. And if the fight against terror requires stronger measures, then let us be bold enough to take them. If it requires regional unity, let us build it. If it requires reform in command structures, let us face it. If it requires removing corrupt elements that weaken security, let us expose them. But let us stop pretending, because every day we pretend, another family mourns. Every day we delay, another child becomes an orphan. Every day we minimize the crisis, terrorists grow more confident. My brothers and sisters, a leader must feel the cry of his people. If he does not feel it, he must go and stand among them until he does. Nigeria is crying, and Africa can hear it. My brothers and sisters, there comes a time in history when words must become action. Africa has talked enough. We have held conferences in big hotels. We have taken pictures with smiles. We have signed agreements. Yet in the villages of northern Nigeria, gunshots still echo at night. How long shall we wait? After my last conversation with President Bola Tinubu, I walked alone in the courtyard of the presidential residence in Ouagadougou. The evening air was warm. Soldiers stood at their posts, alert. The flag of Burkina Faso moved slowly in the wind. I asked myself a difficult question. If a house next to yours is burning, and the owner says everything is fine, do you stand still and watch the flames rise? Or do you act, I respect Nigeria's sovereignty. Nigeria is a proud nation. It is not small, it is not weak, it does not need charity. But it does need peace. And peace does not come from denial. It comes from decisive action. Let us be honest. Bandits and terrorists are not afraid of speeches. They are not afraid of polite assurances. They are afraid of strategy, coordination, intelligence, and strength. They are afraid of unity. When Africa stands divided, criminals grow bold. When leaders protect their pride more than their people, criminals celebrate. I spoke firmly on the phone that day. Mr. President, I said, if you say it is under control, then show it to the people. Let the mothers feel it. Let the farmers see it. Let the roads become safe again. He responded, calm as always. We are doing what is necessary. But what is necessary? Is it necessary for villagers to flee into forest at night? Is it necessary for young men to join armed groups because they have lost hope? Is it necessary for fear to become normal? No. What is necessary is courage. True leadership sometimes requires admitting we need help, and there is no shame in that. When Burkina Faso faced terror, we did not say we were too proud to cooperate. We strengthened alliances. We restructured forces. We made hard decisions. Because the lives of our people are more important than our image. Let me speak clearly today. If Nigeria chooses to confront this crisis with full force, with transparency, with bold regional cooperation, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with Nigeria. But if pride becomes a barrier to saving lives, then history will ask difficult questions. Africa must stop treating insecurity like a small problem. Terrorism in West Africa is like a spreading fire in dry grass. If you ignore it in one country, it spreads to another. If you pretend it is small, it becomes large. If you downplay it, it becomes deadly. I have seen young African soldiers who are ready to sacrifice their lives for peace. Brave men, brave women. But bravery without strong leadership becomes wasted blood. The Nigerian soldier is not the problem. The Nigerian citizen is not the problem. The problem is hesitation. The problem is comfort. The problem is acting as if everything is fine while the ground shakes beneath us. Imagine a market in northern Nigeria. Women selling tomatoes, children running between stalls, laughter, negotiation, life. Now imagine that same market after an attack. Silence, broken wood, blood on the ground, shoes left behind by those who ran, smoke rising slowly into the sky. That is the difference between leadership that moves and leadership that delays. And I cannot stand before Africa and pretend not to see it. Nigeria deserves peace, not partial peace, not selective peace, not peace for only the big cities, but peace for the villages, peace for the roads, peace for the farms, peace for the schools. When I speak like this, some will say I am being too direct, but sometimes love must be direct. Pan-Africanism is not about applause. It is about responsibility. If we cannot challenge each other when our people are dying, then our unity is fake. I am not asking for control. I am not asking for influence. I am asking for courage. If President Tinubu rises boldly and says, yes, the situation is serious and we will crush this terror completely, I will be the first to applaud him. But if calm words continue while villages burn, then Africa must demand more. History is watching us. The children of Nigeria are watching us. The future of West Africa is watching us. And I refuse to be silent while fear becomes normal. Because Nigeria does not belong to bandits. Nigeria does not belong to terrorists. Nigeria belongs to its people. And its people deserve peace. My brothers and sisters, there is something heavier than bullets. It is history. History is watching us now. Years from today, children will open books and read about this moment. They will ask, when terror spread across villages, when bandits ruled forests, when families cried in the night, what did African leaders do? What will the answer be? Will it say we issued statements? Will it say we denied the scale of the crisis? Or will it say we rose with courage and unity? Nigeria is not just any nation. It is the backbone of West Africa. It is culture, music, literature, innovation. It is energy and power. It is millions of dreams moving at once. But today, in too many places, those dreams are interrupted by gunfire. I remember standing before a large map of Africa again. My finger traced the borders of the Sahel. I followed the lines between Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and Nigeria. Lines drawn on paper, but the terrorists do not respect those lines. They move across deserts and forests like shadows. They recruit where there is poverty. They hide where there is weak coordination. They grow where there is denial. And when one country hesitates, the entire region becomes vulnerable. This is not an exaggeration. If insecurity continues in Nigeria, it will not remain inside Nigeria. It will ripple across borders. Trade will suffer. Movement will shrink. Fear will expand. And who benefits? Not Africa, not our farmers, not our youth. Only those who profit from chaos. Let us speak honestly. Africa has suffered long enough from instability. For decades, foreign interests have exploited our divisions. They have sold us weapons while pretending to offer solutions. They have smiled in our capitals while instability fed their influence. Terrorism in West Africa is not always isolated. It feeds on global networks. It feeds on smuggling, illegal mining, arms trafficking. If we do not unite now, we risk becoming permanent battlefields for invisible hands. When I spoke again about Nigeria's situation, I did not speak lightly. I spoke with the weight of this history on my shoulders. I said clearly, our people deserve better than this cycle. They deserve decisive leadership. Some may ask, why is he so concerned? Because Pan-Africanism is not selective. If a child in Nigeria cries, I hear it in Ouagadougou. If a mother in Kaduna mourns, her pain reaches Burkina Faso. If a farmer in Zamfara cannot plant because he fears attack, then the entire region's food security is threatened. We are connected, whether we admit it or not. I imagine a scene in a rural Nigerian village before the violence. Drums beating at a wedding, women dancing, men laughing under trees, children chasing each other in the dust, the smell of food cooking, the sun setting peacefully. That is the Africa we know. Now imagine the same village months later, empty, doors broken, walls scarred by bullets. The only sound is wind. Is this acceptable? Should we call this under control? No, this is a wound. And wounds must be treated honestly, not covered with beautiful words. Leadership is not about never admitting weakness. It is about confronting it boldly. If the security structures need reform, reform them. If intelligence networks need strengthening, strengthen them. If corruption weakens operations, remove it without mercy. If cooperation is required across borders, build it with urgency. But do not pretend, because pretending costs lives. Nigeria's youth deserve to grow up believing in their country, not fearing it. They deserve to build businesses, not join armed groups out of frustration. They deserve opportunity, not displacement camps. I do not speak to divide Africa. I speak to protect Africa, and I will continue to say it until it becomes reality. Nigeria deserves peace, not speeches about peace, not promises of peace, but real, visible, undeniable peace. And if we must shake comfort to achieve it, then let us shake it. If we must challenge each other, then let us do so with courage. Because the weight of history is heavy, and I refuse to let it say that we remain silent while our people suffered. My brothers and sisters, this is not a speech of anger. It is a speech of urgency. It is a speech born from love for our continent and from pain for our people. I want to end by speaking directly not only to leaders, but to the people of Nigeria. To the mother who sleeps lightly because she fears the sound of motorcycles in the night. To the father who walks his children to school with silent worry in his chest. To the soldier standing in the heat guarding a checkpoint far from home. To the young Nigerian who refuses to lose hope, you are not alone. Africa sees you, Africa hears you, and Africa must stand with you. I say again, Nigeria is not weak. Nigeria is powerful. Nigeria is intelligent. Nigeria is rich in culture, in resources, in human strength. From the music that moved the world to the businesses that shaped the continent, Nigeria is a force. But even giants can bleed. And when a giant bleeds, we do not mock it, we help it stand stronger. My message to President Bola Tinubu is simple and clear. History will not remember how calm you sounded. History will remember whether villages became safe. History will not remember the statements. History will remember whether the roads became free of fear. Leadership is tested in crisis. This is that test. If the situation is truly under control, let the people feel it. Let farmers return safely to their land. Let kidnapping stop. Let children walk to school without armed escorts. But if it is not under control, then say it boldly and let Africa mobilize with seriousness. There is no shame in unity. There is no shame in cooperation. There is no shame in admitting that the fight requires more strength. The only shame is allowing pride to cost lives. I stand here not as a rival, not as a critic from a distance, but as an African leader who understands what terrorism does to nations. I have seen villages emptied. I have seen young men radicalized by despair. I have seen how fear can become normal if we do not crush it early. And I refuse to watch Nigeria walk that same road without raising my voice. Because when Nigeria is stable, West Africa breathes easier. When Nigeria is peaceful, trade flows stronger. When Nigeria is secure, the entire region stands taller. This is bigger than politics. It is about the dream of a united Africa. Our ancestors fought colonial powers with far less than what we have today. They faced empires with courage and unity. They believed in a future where Africans would control their destiny. What would they say now if they saw bandits terrorizing our villages while we argue about image? What would they say if they saw leaders afraid to admit the scale of the problem? They would demand courage, and that is what I demand, not as an enemy, but as a brother. If Nigeria rises with decisive action, I will be the first to stand beside her. If Nigeria calls for stronger regional cooperation, my hand is extended. If Nigeria chooses bold reform, I will applaud it. But I cannot and will not pretend that everything is fine while families mourn. Nigerians deserve peace. Peace in the north, peace in the middle belt, peace in every village and every city. Peace that is not temporary. Peace that is not political. Peace that is real. Let this be the moment when Africa chooses bravery over comfort. Let this be the moment when leaders feel the cry of their people and respond without delay. Let this be the moment when we say enough. Enough of fear. Enough of denial. Enough of half measures. Nigeria will rise, and Africa must rise with her, because our blood is connected, our future is shared, and our people deserve nothing less than peace.